The fire carriers. The expedition had gone farther than any before it. Humanity's reach into the stars had been ambitious but cautious, each new system a carefully calculated step forward. Yet here they were, aboard the Erebus, a ship so advanced it practically hummed with human ingenuity, venturing into the uncharted void of the Perseus arm. They had come in search of knowledge, resources, and perhaps even allies among the stars. What they found was fire. It began with the distress beacon, a faint, fragmented signal from a derelict vessel adrift in the silent expanse. Captain Elara Vos, a woman of unwavering resolve, ordered the ship to intercept. The Erebus was a scout, not a rescue ship, but the code of humanity demanded they investigate. The derelict was ancient, its hull scarred by centuries of decay and violent impacts. As the away team boarded, they found no survivors, only the remnants of a species long extinguished. What they did find, however, was a treasure beyond measure, a sphere, roughly the size of a basketball, radiating a faint, pulsing glow. Its surface shimmered with a kaleidoscope of colors, as if it contained the very essence of a star. Kavita Rao, the ship's xenologist, was the first to understand its significance. It's not just a power source, she whispered, awestruck. It's a seed. A fragment of their culture, their history, their fire. They called themselves the Ancaris, and this was their legacy. The Ancaris had perished in a cataclysm, a supernova that consumed their home system, yet they had foreseen their doom and created these spheres as vessels of knowledge, hoping that another civilization might one day discover them and carry their fire forward. The Erebus had stumbled upon one of the last embers of a long-dead flame. It wasn't long before they realized the sphere was more than an artifact. It was alive, in its own way. It communicated in bursts of light and patterns of energy, sharing glimpses of the Ancaris achievements and warnings of their failures. Elara felt a deep kinship with these long-dead beings. They, too, had reached for the stars, daring to dream beyond their grasp. But the sphere also brought danger. Its activation sent ripples through the cosmos, alerting others to its presence. The Erebus soon found itself pursued by a hostile alien race known as the Kravik, a species infamous for their voracious hunger for advanced technology. To the Kravik, the sphere was not a legacy to be preserved but a prize to be exploited. The chase was relentless. The Erebus dodged through asteroid fields, skirted the edges of black holes, and pushed its engines to their limits. Yet, the Kravik fleet was inexorable, their ships designed for pursuit and capture. Elara knew they couldn't run forever. "We have to make a stand," she declared, her voice resolute. "We can't let them take it." The crew agreed. They rigged the sphere to the ship's systems, amplifying its energy to create a weapon unlike anything humanity had ever wielded. The Ancaris fire would burn again, not as a tool of destruction but as a beacon of defiance. The final battle took place in the shadow of a dying star, its crimson light casting an eerie glow over the battlefield. The Kravik swarmed, their ships sleek and predatory, but the Erebus stood firm, with the sphere's power coursing through its systems. The human ship became a blazing juggernaut, unleashing bursts of energy that tore through the enemy ranks. But victory came at a cost. The sphere, pushed beyond its limits, began to destabilize. Elara knew what had to be done. "We'll launch it," she ordered. "Let it carry its message to the stars. Humanity will keep its promise. We will carry their fire." The crew watched in solemn silence as the sphere was released into the void, its glow intensifying as it drifted away. The Kravik, disoriented and broken, retreated, unwilling to face the wrath of the dying ember. Years later, tales of the Erebus and its crew spread across human colonies. The sphere's final transmission, a tapestry of light and sound, was shared among countless worlds, inspiring a new generation to reach for the stars. Humanity had become the fire carriers, bearing the legacy of the Ancaris and countless others forward into the infinite night. And somewhere, in the uncharted depths of space, the sphere continued its journey, a small, persistent flame in the darkness, waiting for the next hand to carry it onward. The fire carriers, ember of hope. The sphere had drifted for decades, a silent messenger traversing the interstellar void. Its journey ended in the orbit of a barren, frozen world in the Canis Major cluster. There, a fledgling species known as the Trelkin discovered it, feathers of shimmering blue and green. The Trelkin were not yet starfarers in their own right, they had only just begun to reach beyond their atmosphere, but the sphere's light called to them, igniting a spark of curiosity and ambition that would change the course of their history. On Earth, the story of the Erebus and the Ancharis sphere had become legend. Humanity had expanded its reach, settling dozens of new worlds and forging alliances with other species. They had become the stewards of the Ancharis fire, spreading its message of resilience and unity wherever they went. But the galaxy was vast, and the Kravik were not the only threat lurking in its shadows. Commander Rylan Cade, captain of the Vanguard, was among those tasked with following the trail of the sphere. The Vanguard was a testament to human ingenuity, a sleek, powerful starship equipped with the latest in adaptive AI and quantum slipstream drives. Its mission was simple: locate and protect any remnants of the Ancharis legacy. When a faint signal from the Canis Major cluster reached Earth, Rylan and his crew were the first to respond. The Trelkin's discovery of the sphere had not gone unnoticed. An ancient warlord species, the Golan, had intercepted the same signal. Known for their brutal conquests and disdain for diplomacy, the Golan saw the sphere as a weapon to be seized and wielded. Their fleet descended upon the Trelkin homeworld, overwhelming its primitive defenses. Rylan's arrival could not have been more timely. As the Vanguard emerged from Slipstream, it found the Golan fleet bombarding the surface. Trelkin cities burned, and their cries of desperation filled the comm channels. "We're not leaving without that sphere," Rylan said, his voice hard. "But we're not abandoning these people, either." The crew sprang into action. The Vanguard dove into the fray, its adaptive shields absorbing Golan fire as it weaved between enemy ships. Rylan coordinated with Trelkin resistance fighters on the ground, guiding them to secure the sphere while his ship held the line. Inside a ruined Trelkin temple, Elder Vyrek cradled the sphere. Its light pulsed softly, filling the chamber with warmth despite the cold reality of the invasion. "It's alive," Vyrek whispered, tears glinting in his wide eyes. "It wants us to survive." The sphere projected images into Vyrek's mind, not of destruction, but of hope. It showed the Trelkin rising above their current state, building ships of their own and joining the galactic community. It promised a future worth fighting for. The Golan flagship, Rothspire, loomed above the temple, its weapons locked on the structure. Rylan knew he had to act fast. "Lieutenant Carson, target their weapons array," he ordered. "Give them something to think about." The Vanguard unleashed a barrage of precision strikes, disabling the Rothspire's main guns. Rylan then opened a comm channel. "This is Commander Rylan Cade of the Vanguard," he said. "You've lost your advantage. Withdraw now, or we'll ensure you regret staying." The Golan hesitated. Their warlike nature clashed with the reality of a fight they might not win. Reluctantly, the fleet began to retreat. With the Golan gone, the Trelkin emerged from their shelters. They looked to the sky, where the Vanguard hovered like a guardian angel. Rylan and his crew delivered the sphere to the Trelkin Council, ensuring they understood its significance and the responsibility it carried. "This is not just a gift," Rylan told them, "it's a challenge. The Ancharis wanted their legacy to inspire others. Use this fire to build a better future." Elder Vyrek bowed deeply. "We will honor this gift, Commander. The Trelkin will rise." As the Vanguard departed, Rylan looked back at the Trelkin homeworld, now dotted with the glowing embers of rebuilding cities. Humanity had once again carried the fire, passing it to a species ready to embrace its light. But Rylan knew their work was far from over. The galaxy was vast, and there were more fires to kindle, more hands to carry the flame. The fire carrier's mission continued. The Fire Carriers, Legacy of Light. The Trelkin's rise as a galactic power was swift. Within a century, they transformed from a fledgling species to a spacefaring civilization. Driven by the Ancharis sphere's wisdom and humanity's guidance, their fleets now roamed the stars, seeking knowledge, forging alliances, and carrying the Ancharis legacy forward. But the galaxy was far from unified, and the fire they carried drew both admiration and envy. On Earth, Commander Rylan Cade was preparing for what he hoped would be his final mission aboard the Vanguard. Decades had passed since the Trelkin first discovered the sphere, and Rylan had grown older, though no less resolute. He had spent his life safeguarding the embers of fallen civilizations, ensuring their legacies endured. Now, a new challenge had emerged. The Kravik had returned. Reports from the edge of the Perseus Arm spoke of a vast Kravik fleet, more advanced and aggressive than ever before. They had discovered remnants of another Ankaris sphere, one corrupted by time and twisted by the Kravik's experiments. The Kravik were using its power to fuel their conquests, turning the Ankaris legacy into a weapon of subjugation. Ryland's mission was clear: stop the Kravik, recover the corrupted sphere, and ensure it could no longer be misused. The Vanguard slipped into Kravik space under the cover of its advanced stealth systems. The crew had grown over the years, a mix of humans and allies from species inspired by the fire carriers. Among them was Trelkan Commander Virek, a descendant of the Elder who had first embraced the Ankaris sphere. Virek's sharp mind and unyielding determination made him a valuable ally. The Kravik won't surrender the sphere willingly, Virek said during the briefing. We must be prepared to destroy it if we can't retrieve it. Ryland nodded, though the thought weighed heavily on him. Destroying the sphere meant losing a piece of the Ankaris legacy forever. We'll do what we must, he said, but if there's a chance to save it, we'll take it. The Kravik stronghold orbited a dying star, its gravity well serving as both a defense and a trap. The Vanguard emerged from slipstream at the edge of the system, its sensors sweeping the area. The Kravik fleet was vast, their ships bristling with weapons powered by the corrupted sphere. There, said Lieutenant Carson, pointing to a holographic display, the sphere is aboard their flagship, the Dominion. Ryland leaned forward. Plot an approach. We'll infiltrate and disable their defenses before they know we're here. The Vanguard darted through the system, evading patrols and weaving through asteroid fields. As it approached the Dominion, a small strike team prepared to board the flagship. Ryland led the team, with Virek by his side. The Dominion's interior was a labyrinth of dark corridors and humming machinery. The corrupted sphere's influence was palpable, its energy warping the environment. The strike team moved quickly, neutralizing guards and avoiding detection. Finally, they reached the sphere's chamber. The sight was both awe-inspiring and horrifying. The sphere's once brilliant light had turned a sickly green, its surface cracked and pulsating with chaotic energy. Tendrils of power extended from it, feeding into the ship's systems. We can't let this continue, Virek said, his voice grim. Agreed, Ryland replied. He activated his comm. Carson, begin disruption protocols. We're taking it offline. But the Kravik had anticipated their move. Alarms blared, and the chamber filled with armed soldiers. A fierce battle erupted, energy blasts and projectiles ricocheting through the room. Ryland and Virek fought side by side, their movements precise and coordinated. Amid the chaos, Virek reached the sphere. He placed a device on its surface, designed to stabilize its energy long enough for extraction. I've got it, Virek shouted. Fall back, Ryland ordered. The team retreated, the sphere in tow. The Vanguard provided cover fire as they made their escape, its weapons disabling the Dominion's engines. With the corrupted sphere secured, the Vanguard jumped to slipstream, leaving the Kravik fleet in disarray. Back aboard the Vanguard, the crew worked tirelessly to restore the sphere. Drive, Kavita Rao, the ship's xenologist, led the effort. Slowly, the sphere's light began to change, its green hue fading into a soft, warm glow. It's healing, Drive, Rao said, smiling. The Ankaris fire is resilient. Ryland watched as the sphere pulsed with renewed life. Another legacy preserved, he said quietly. Virek stepped forward, and another lesson learned. The fire isn't just a gift, it's a responsibility, one we must all share. Ryland nodded. The mission continues. As the Vanguard departed the system, the restored sphere sat in its containment chamber, a beacon of hope and unity. The Kravik's defeat was a reminder that the fire was not just humanity's to carry, but a legacy to be shared and protected by all who believed in its light. The fire carrier's journey was far from over. The fire carriers, Dark Tide, the Vanguard had become a symbol of hope and unity across the galaxy, its crew renowned for preserving the Ankaris legacy and protecting the vulnerable. Yet, with each victory, New challenges arose, as the Vanguard celebrated its latest mission, the recovery of the corrupted sphere from the Kravik. A foreboding message reached its comms, a distress signal from an allied planet in the Orion Spur. The signal came from Lyrados, a lush world settled by a coalition of species working together in harmony. Known for its abundant resources and cultural significance, Lyrados had long been a beacon of peace, but the message was chilling. This is Governor Salin of Lyrados. We are under attack. A force unlike any we have seen is consuming our world. They call themselves the Umbri. If anyone can hear this, we need help. We need the fire carriers. The word Umbri struck a chord of unease. It was a name that had surfaced in ancient Ancaris records, a shadowy, parasitic entity capable of overwhelming entire civilizations. If the Umbri had truly returned, the galaxy faced a threat unlike any before. What do we know about the Umbri? Commander Rylan Cade asked as the crew assembled in the briefing room. Drive, Kavita Rao, the Vanguard's xenologist, brought up a holographic display. The Ancaris described them as a force of pure entropy. They don't conquer in the traditional sense, they consume. Entire ecosystems are drained of energy, leaving only barren husks behind. Virek, now a senior officer, leaned forward. If the Ancaris couldn't stop them, how can we? We have the fire, Rylan replied firmly, and we have each other. That's more than the Ancaris had when they faced the Umbri. Let's not underestimate ourselves. The Vanguard arrived in orbit above Lyrados, and the sight was devastating. Vast swathes of the planet's surface were shrouded in a dark, undulating mass that seemed alive. Energy readings spiked erratically, and the ship's sensors struggled to penetrate the Umbri's presence. We're detecting survivors in the capital city, Lieutenant Carson reported, but they're surrounded. Prepare a ground team, Rylan ordered. We're getting them out. Rylan, Virek, and a squad of elite soldiers descended to the planet's surface. The capital was a nightmarish landscape of twisted structures and pulsating Umbri tendrils. The air felt heavy, as if the planet itself were suffocating. The team pushed through, guided by intermittent signals from the survivors. In the heart of the city, they found Governor Salin and a group of civilians barricaded in a crumbling government building. The Umbri were closing in, their amorphous forms shifting and coalescing with unsettling fluidity. You came, Salin said, his voice filled with relief. I didn't think anyone would. We're not leaving without you, Rylan assured him, but we need to know what we're dealing with. Have you seen anything we can use against them? Salin hesitated. The Ancaris sphere we kept in the cultural archives. It reacted to them. It started glowing when the Umbri arrived, almost as if it was fighting back, but we couldn't protect it. They took it. The revelation was a game changer. If the sphere was responding to the Umbri, it might hold the key to stopping them. Rylan decided to split the team. One group would escort the survivors to safety, while the other retrieved the sphere. Virek volunteered for the retrieval mission. If the sphere's the key, we can't leave it behind. Rylan nodded. Be careful, we'll hold the evac point until you return. Virek's team fought their way to the archives, where the Umbri's presence was strongest. The sphere was encased in a cocoon of dark tendrils, its light flickering weakly. As Virek approached, the sphere pulsed, releasing a wave of energy that pushed the Umbri back momentarily. It's trying to fight, Virek said. Let's give it some help. Using a portable containment unit, the team freed the sphere and began their retreat, but the Umbri were relentless, their forms converging into a massive, singular entity that pursued them through the city. At the evac point, Rylan and the others held the line against waves of Umbri attackers. The Vanguard provided air support, its weapon scorching the ground to buy time. When Virek's team emerged with the sphere, its light growing stronger, the tide began to turn. The sphere released a blinding pulse that forced the Umbri to retreat, their forms unraveling as they fled. The survivors were evacuated, and the Vanguard returned to orbit, the sphere now safely aboard. Back on the ship, the crew studied the sphere's reaction to the Umbri. Rao theorized that the sphere's energy could disrupt the Umbri's cohesion, potentially driving them back or even destroying them, but deploying it on a larger scale would require more spheres, and more allies. Rylan addressed the crew. The Umbri are a threat to every living being in the galaxy. We've seen what they can do, but we've also seen that they're not invincible. The fire we carry can stand against this dark tide, but we can't do it alone. It's time to rally the galaxy." The crew nodded, determination etched on their faces. The fire carrier's mission had evolved. They were no longer just preserving the Ankaris legacy, they were fighting for the survival of the galaxy itself. The battle against the dark tide had begun.